Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight? It's day 2 of Community Week. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's happening.
Yay. Let's do this.
Should we take a seat?
Let's take a seat. John has the clicker. Hi, everyone. I'm Tally Lancey, General Lady About Town, accompanied by my friend, John Zirkle. You might not know him.
Hey, guys, I'm John.
I was going to just ask, could I get a raise of hands for anyone who doesn't know John? Okay, great.
I'll introduce myself later. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, one person. Wow, amazing. Welcome. We are your hosts for tonight's Community Week. I was hoping to futz around with my computer a little bit, but I think we can wing it here in the beginning.
Great. Okay, you should do that because there's lots of great stuff on
Thank you.
there. So we're at the State of the Community. This is night 2. Lots of great events going on this week. Tomorrow morning, we have the Joint County Commission meeting over at the Wilson Hotel. How many people have already been at an event for Community Week so far? Amazing. Thank you so much. So this is just one of many, and I want to take a moment to thank Jenny Christensen and Liz McFadden for all their fabulous work, putting together a really amazing, complex week. Great conversations. We're really excited about tonight, and we're going to kick it off right now. We've got a lot of people watching online. Hello, people online. We see you kind of like in feeling, but you're going to be able to participate tonight just like the people in the room. And so, Tally, let's talk about it. What is the State of the Community?
Thanks for asking, John. The State of the Community is somewhat called the keystone event of Community Week, hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and the Resort Area District. The point of us getting together is to help synthesize all of the public meetings that occur throughout the year. Jenny, Liz, John, and I have curated little snippets from those meetings to help us all establish some common knowledge. I just want to have a little personal note here and let you know that I've been recently fangirling over Steven Pinker, not who you thought I was going to say. Steven Pinker loves to talk about common knowledge. And when we all entered the room, we had some private knowledge. What we're going to do tonight is learn things together in public, and that will help establish our common knowledge. That's going to be the theme of the night. One more thing, and then I'll hand it over. The point of common knowledge is to help us all have a common narrative, which allows us to cooperate and act more efficiently. That is the point of tonight's event. John, how is it going to run?
Great. So here's the layout of the evening. We're going to do 4 panels based on themes. And let's see if I can advance the slide. Yes, so exciting. Here's the agenda. We're going to do 4 panels, and then afterwards, we're hoping, after you've maybe learned something new about the community, if you have questions that haven't been answered, that we can hang out afterwards and continue those conversations based on what we've heard tonight. We're going to start with social services, then we're going to move into funding and philanthropy, health and safety, close out with economic development, and then we're all going to get back together again in the reception area. We're thinking that each of these panels will be about 20 to 25 minutes. The panelists are going to come up and they're going to tell you about their organization. We have been super strict with them about how much information they can share. They're going to talk about the organization, a brief history. We've allowed them to share 1 picture that exemplifies their organization. We've asked them to display 1 number.
Some people listen to that.
That was tough.
Yeah.
But they've got important numbers to share. And then we've asked them to close out each presentation with 1 word. And we're asking them to summarize where are we headed as a community with that 1 word. And they did a great job. It's not easy to talk about complicated things in a truncated environment like tonight, but we're hoping to be done by 7 o'clock. So we're going to be up here having conversation, but we definitely want the audience here in the Warren Miller Performing Arts Center and online to engage. Last year, Tally and I put our cell phone numbers up here and we were texting. We're going to try something new this year. If you've noticed, there are QR codes to the left and right of the stage, and we want to do a little test with you now. So go ahead, even if you don't have a question, pull out those phones. It's the Wampak Guest Network, and check to see if you can make this QR code work. Jenny worked really hard on making those QR codes high resolution and huge, and we put a special light on it for you. And as those questions come up, Tally and I, we're not really reading off of a script here, but we do have a live form that's updating with your questions. And then as we get into each panel, we're going to look through and then try to build those questions into conversation. Sound good? All right, I'm waiting for a few of those to come through. How's it going so far?
These tests are coming in well. And if we don't get to your question, we will do our best to get your questions to the right person afterwards. And everyone's contact information from tonight is on the Community Week website.
Yeah, and we're going to share the sheet. We're going to curate these questions, we're going to put them together, and all the panelists will be able to see them. So that's important, and I think the panelists will be really grateful for that, to know what their community is thinking. So with that, let's dive right into our first panel. We're going to start with social services, and if you see your name up there, come on up. We've got Sarah Gaither-Bivens with the Big Sky Community Food Bank, Marielle Butan with the Morning Star Learning Center, and Allison Braddock with Wellness in Action. Let's give them a round of applause for their service.
Welcome, ladies.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here in Tally's living room. By the way, big thanks to Ken and Tally Lancy for letting us take all of their furniture from their living room and put it on the
right
stage
at home.
here. It's perfect. So we're going to get started with Sarah. Take it away.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Gaither-Bivens. I run the food bank here in Big Sky, and we can just dive into how it all started, the legend of the food bank. 2011, 2012, it was Lynn at the Country Market who was seeing too many locals running tabs that they couldn't pay off in the off-season. So she called HRDC, and together with several engaged community members, they said, let's make sure that nobody in Big Sky goes hungry. 2013, we hired our first part-time staff, that was me, and opened in our space under the Bugaboo Cafe, and we're still there. In those days, we were seeing about a 15% increase in services year over year. And we were cruising right along until 2020, when COVID hit. Then our growth in emergency food box numbers began to skyrocket, as they did nationwide. We immediately shifted to full-time operation, hiring 2 additional staff and ordering about 10,000 extra pounds of food. Across the nation, everyone suddenly began to understand what food security really means. By 2021, we knew that food alone wasn't enough, and thanks to some extra funding, extra YCCF funding, and the fact that Charlie moved his grow room out from the space next door, we were able to add laundry, a computer lab, some coat room space, and casework space, and develop into a more holistic resource center for the community. 2023, after the federal stipends and the extra unemployment credits expired, our numbers doubled, jumping 97% in the single year. And that's about where we are today, that elevated number. We're so excited, just to round out this portion, in the last few weeks, we got a huge renovation donated by a group called Revitalized Restoration. New floors, new lighting, cabinetry, furniture. So our little pantry has turned into a warm, dignified, and now well-designed space for the community. Yeah. From day one, we weren't just handing out food, we were building security in a community built on seasonality. So why we do the work we do? According to the 2023 Bozeman Health Community Needs Assessment, 50% of the respondents in Big Sky said that they had difficulty buying fresh fruits and vegetables at prices they could afford. 25% said they worried about having enough food to eat. The folks in this photo represent our workforce, the housekeepers, lifties, cooks, teachers, parents, and in rapidly growing numbers, some of our community's retirees. Nearly all of our customers are working, often 2 or 3 jobs in the season, but Big Sky's cost of living can outpace even their best effort. We always like to say people make better decisions when their bellies are full, And when someone knows where the next meal is coming from, they can show up for themselves, their employers, and their community in more meaningful ways. Food security isn't about charity, it's about infrastructure. It's what keeps people rooted enough to stay, work, play, and belong in Big Sky. Where we are now. In the past year, we distributed 3,421 emergency food boxes. That isn't just a number. That's 3,421 times our people were able to feel a little bit more secure about where their next meal was coming from. Those 3,421 boxes served over 1,700 people from about 1,100 households, including over 40 children and 30 senior citizens. All of this is made possible, of course, by Resort Tax, our philanthropic community foundations, and the many volunteers and donors in this room. Where we're going. If you ask where we're headed, our hope is represented in the word security. Not just food on the shelves, but security in housing, work, and belonging in this town. We want Big Sky to be a place where everyone, whether they've been here 30 years or 30 minutes, feels anchored and supported. That's our vision for the future of Big Sky. The opposite of hunger isn't fullness, it's security. As we look ahead, we're not just counting boxes, we're building belonging and shaping a Big Sky where everyone has enough to thrive.
Thank you, Sarah. And as those questions come up, make sure you keep using that QR code. I love it. We've had a ton of questions come in already, so I'm quickly learning that we're going to be scrolling a lot. This is great. Marielle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marielle Butan, Executive Director of Morningstar Learning Center. And I think by now, especially those of you I see in this room, and I would imagine some of our friends online, everybody knows the importance of early childhood education on human and economic development. So I actually want to focus a little bit on the successes that Morningstar has had and some amazing things about our program. For 19 years, we have been so much more than childcare. What we do is community development. We are the ones who make it possible for Big Sky to be a thriving and full year-round community. And whether you're a Morningstar parent now or hope to be one day, or never were, never will be, but you've benefited from the services our families provide, or if you used to be a Morningstar parent and that helped you launch your life and career here, Morningstar has been there for you, and we hope that we always will be. So, our history. It has been a long and uphill road, but over the last 5 years, the strategic investments that this community has made in Morningstar have really started to have incredible results. And I have a lot of data on all of that, our enrollment, our staffing, why we do what we do. But I think the two most important points, one you'll see in 2022, the age shift meant that Morningstar had younger kids, and that has made us more expensive than we used to be, just the cost to Morningstar to do what we do. And number two is that once we started paying teachers better, once we started having stable and affordable housing for them, and once we started improving working conditions, teachers started to stay at Morningstar. That has made us an immensely better program and has just allowed us to pay back everything that the community has given to us by having a more stable operation. And we're just really grateful for our teachers and to everybody who makes it possible for us to support our teachers, from Resort Tax to Lone Mountain Land to the foundations, our donors, our families, everybody. It's been a huge team effort, and it has started to pay off with teacher retention. So, why we do what we do. I did cheat a little bit, and I turned two pictures into one picture.
It's a piece of art.
It's a thought bubble.
Yeah.
So we all know there are so many wonderful things in this community that bring people here to spend money, and that's how our tourism economy goes round. However, Morningstar parents are the ones who are providing the services that make it possible for people to spend that money in the first place. So that's, again, back to community development. It's so much more than just childcare. Morningstar is affordable. We have an experienced and dedicated team of people who have built relationships with families over the years. We also have enough teachers now that someone can call out sick or, God forbid, go on vacation without disrupting our whole operation. And because of all of that, parents can focus at work, they can attend work, they can have a job, they can live in Big Sky and make a life here as a result of the work that we do, and not just existing, right? That's not what really makes the difference. It's being excellent and affordable so that parents can access our services. Because of the time limit, I will spare you all my waxing poetic about all of the amazing things at Morningstar right now, from outdoor learning centers to our nature walks and indoor gross motor space. There are just so many cool things happening right now. But I think the main takeaway is just that it's a magical place, and it has taken a lot of work and support to get there. So where we are now. For the last, well, I guess I should back up. So 5 years ago, the teacher tenure at Morningstar, median, so half of the people had been there more or less than this amount, was 7 months. That's brutal, right? Like, and I know if you're in a more seasonal industry where like the job itself is 4 months, that might sound great. That is not what education is. And it was really not great for kids. It wasn't very good for anybody in the community. And we are really excited that now over 2/3 of our staff has been with Morningstar for 3 or more years. That is huge for child development and also for those families. And yeah, we hope we can keep that up. At the same time, our cost, which is aligned with the cost of care for childcares around this region, is out of reach for most of our families. So you can see there we have 85% of families qualifying for need-based tuition assistance. And we are so grateful that we are able to support them being able to use our services and stay in Big Sky thanks to resort tax, and we have to keep that up too. I have a quote here from a family of what it means to them. Morningstar's tuition assistance program has been vital in enabling our family to live and work in Big Sky while providing our children with access to quality education. With the rising costs of living in the area, tuition assistance has offered essential support that we deeply value. We are incredibly grateful for this program and the opportunities it has created for our family. I wanted to read that because I feel like it's better than I could have said it. So, where we're going. The word that I chose for this is team, because we all have to work together, whether it's childcare or like literally anything, to make that Big Sky magic. That's part of what this community is all about, is that we have to work together. I think especially with kids, you hear the phrase a lot that it takes a village. You hear it a lot because it is true. We're very grateful for the village that has made Morningstar possible and the teamwork from Lone Mountain Land making it possible for us to have housing, which helps us attract and retain teachers, to resort tax, foundations, sponsors, families. Again, we have so many donors and people who make it possible for us to pay teachers enough that they can afford to stay in the job. And those teachers make it possible for families to be here in this community and also for kids to have a really great foundational start in life. The people in these families, because again, we're talking about like real humans. I know I see a lot of you out there, so I don't think I have to explain it more than that. You all make it possible for our community to function. It just can't work without every single one of us. And so everything that we can do to support everybody else to make that Big Sky magic keep happening, Morningstar will always be a part of that. What we're doing with teacher retention and the quality of our program and making it affordable has worked in helping families stay in Big Sky and make it possible for them to make a life here for their families. And we're really proud of that, and we're gonna keep working really hard to make that stay the reality, and we appreciate your efforts in joining us in that.
Thank you, Marielle. Moving on to Wellness in Action.
Sure. Hello, my name's Allison Braddock. I'm the Executive Director for Wellness in Action. Our mission, as you may be aware of, is to really improve mental health here in Big Sky. For people who live and or work here, we provide a network of mental and behavioral services, often at lower cost. Sliding scale counseling, we partner with 13 providers offering a range of discounts based on your income. We offer 2 no-cost community health workers. They really help clients navigate the resources here in Big Sky, whether it be medical providers, mental health professionals, financial services, and the like. We provide grief support groups, education trainings, and a major pillar of Wellness in Action's services have been youth support or youth sports scholarships. So we've done that for a number of years. So, okay, we've been around for 20 years, formerly Women in Action. A huge shout out and thanks to the women who really started this organization in 2005. They really built We as Work based on community supporting community. They started with flu shot clinics, and also their youth scholarships were a huge piece of the programming at that time. They soon stepped into that mental health support, although I don't even know that they realized it at the time, by helping fund Big Sky's first school counselor. Mental health support counseling continued as they supported MSU counseling interns, first serving the area with lower cost services. And then our first real platform of mental health services started in 2018. It's when we first started partnering with counselors here. In 2022, we changed our name to Wellness in Action, feeling like that encompasses more of the services and space that we're providing and serving here in the community. And in 2023, we hired the first community health worker to serve Big Sky, and we now offer or have 2 of those on our team. So, why we do what we do. This is just a picture of our team. We call our work small team, big mission. We all really embrace the mission that we support in this community. We're honored to do the work here. We are very grateful for the community that just really listens and really wants to do the work, the hard work to improve mental health. I think we all know how it feels to be affected by it. We all know people or have been affected by poor mental health and challenges ourselves. We also know how living in a ski resort town and in this wonderful community, that often comes with exasperated challenges of what Sarah spoke to, Marielle spoke to, the like, but it's not easy to always make a life here. And so we really does our work to step in and try and bridge that gap, provide increased affordability and accessibility to services that folks need. Where we are now, well, we'll start with the worst of the worst. Montana's ranked 49th out of 50 for mental health. Not a great place to be as far as statistics. That's based on diagnosed anxiety, depression, and thoughts of suicide for both adults and youth. That's where that number comes from. It's not a great statistic, but I think it's an important place to start, because what I'd like to share is the hope, both that comes from our platform, the work we do, but as a greater community. I feel like this community works so hard to really improve this statistic from a funding perspective, from a community perspective, from a working together to reduce the stigma perspective. From a service point of view, the 13 counselors that we now partner with, as well as our 2 CHWs and our extensive programming, while it does meet the need of Big Sky and is certainly a help, we have a long way to go. And we know that. We're in a position to really be working on that and improve the mental health in this community. For example, our sliding scale for 40% of our clients, WIA supports 90% of their counseling fees. That means that they pay approximately $15 per session. Our CHWs have met with over 120 of our community members, providing on average 2.5 to 3 hours per session, or not per session, but per client. Also interesting, I think, is to know that our CHWs invest about 40% of their time, or 40%, into research and how to help serve the people that they work with in this community. So a lot of work on the back end. There's the statistic of 40% of our clients pay $15. We know that doesn't meet the need for everybody, so we know there's additional financial gaps and challenges here in Big Sky. So WIA offers additional scholarships specifically for counseling that are really aimed to bridge that gap. Addressing the youth statistic, because it unfortunately is not much better than 49th out of 50. We're working with the schools to provide social emotional learning tools that they're using for each of their kids, as well as scholarships for educators, because we know that when our teachers are strong, our kids can be stronger as well. So we is really grateful. Our team is honored to be doing this work. We're grateful for the support in this room and in this community to keep improving it for this town. Wellness, obvious word. For us, I'd like to read how it's defined because I think it encompasses a lot. As a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. I love the word complete because I think that really speaks to this community and the team and the collaboration that takes, it takes to make it work, but also that is happening on a grassroots, organic, and collaborative way. We are so grateful for just the connection and work together with all the partners to really improve and to really work towards that state of wellness here in Big Sky. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that wellness also can be attributed to the possibility and future building of a wellness district here in town. And that's done by the hard continued work of so many folks to bring increased revenue to really support the services collectively here that work to improve health for our community. So.
I think you're kicking off the question. Well, maybe I'll just read one quickly from the audience.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Sarah, this one's for you. Could you explain what an emergency food box is?
Sure. We just use that as the number. That's one time a household comes to get an emergency food box. That food box can serve their whole household, and people can shop twice a month at the food bank. That's kind of just how we regulate things. So an emergency food box is a trip to the grocery store, basically, but free.
Thank you.
We want to ask kind of a big-ish question about what it's like being in a small town. I feel like social services, your organizations, you are really on the ground. You are really seeing the opportunities and the challenges that come with a small town. We were talking about this earlier. There was an event here years ago. We had to ask people to say, well, describe Big Sky in a sentence. And one of the interesting things that came out of that was, well, Big Sky, it's a small town. But you know, it's also a small town. But it's a small town. And that, to me, was pretty clear. Like, I think we love the idea of being able to go out to restaurants and see our neighbors and people we know. That is one of the intoxicating things about being in Big Sky. We love that. There are also moments where we're like, I kind of need a break, right? And then there are those moments when something really challenging happens and our neighbors show up for us. And I think all three of those things are true. And I'm really curious, through your work with the organizations or just you as people who are in Big Sky, you know, what does small town mean to you?
The coolest thing about being at the food bank is so many nights when, you know, we're open, we will have 15, 20 people at the food bank, and often they will all know each other, and the conversations that happen about the week, how the snow was that day, is really great. But then you also hear the conversations about, oh, how can I help you get back to where you're staying? Or do you want to use our food to do a crock pot this weekend? That's the really cool small town thing that happens. The not so cool thing that happens is when somebody feels like ashamed that they are using the food bank, and all of a sudden they want some confidentiality that they might not be able to get in this town. Of course, our staff and volunteers are trying to keep everybody's stuff confidential, but that is a fact of life in Big Sky too. Everybody knows your business.
I think for me, and I come from Denver, not a small town, but one thing I've really noticed working in Big Sky is that you get the chance and opportunity to see how all the systems work together. So in a larger city, everybody has their niche and their lanes, and in Big Sky, you just see so much overlapping, so much teamwork to really get the problem solved and work things out and improve systems, and it's really cool to be able to be included in hospital conversations and conversations with law enforcement and the food bank on this kind of a molecular, smaller level. I also think just the nuances and uniqueness of Big Sky in a ski resort town. I just think for as many challenges as there are here, there's just so many possibilities and experiences that are really fun to be part of and experience a community that really takes that bull by its horns and lives to the extreme per se, so.
I identify with, I think, both of those things a lot. And what I think about with the context of Morningstar and all services, everything that we have here, sometimes because we come from other places or because we have such an amazing community who shows up and works real hard for each other, we forget how small of a town we are and forget to realize and celebrate what we've been able to accomplish, which I think we punch well above our weight as a population size when it comes to services and amenities. And so that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is on the one hand, it's really hard. Like Morningstar cannot be everything that every individual family needs, right? Like none of our services can. Like it's just one entity at a time here. And that can feel really discouraging because I know like there are people who wish Morningstar could be open earlier or later or on the weekends, or there's people who wish they had more of a drop-in model versus regular enrollment. And it like, the nature of the person that I am, it like hurts me to be able to say like, oh, I can't do that. And like think about all the ways that we've been able to help people and all the ways that this community has shown up for all of us. And I think that that is what's special about it being a small town is like everybody gets it. Everybody knows what it takes here and works together in a way that I find really magical. I've never seen it anywhere else.
Hashtag be the village.
Yeah. Hashtag learn that from Khaki.
That's great. I think our time is up for this panel. Is that about right to you?
Liz is going.
We're getting
yes.
a nod from Liz. Okay.
There's a really good question in here. I just want to acknowledge that there was a great question asked that I hope this person, whoever wrote that,
Yeah.
approaches them afterwards. Maybe we'll get time to ask it later.
Okay.
Okay, big round of applause for social
you for social
services. Thank
services.
you so much, you all. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to do the set change, and Tally's going to bring on the next group. Or did we want to ask the trivia question, which was, what is the longest serving social service organization in Big Sky? D.
Oh, yeah. I do know the answer to that one. Thank goodness. Do we have any guesses? The longest serving social services organization in the community. Oh, we have a guess.
Well, there's the Gallatin Women's Club. They do services, so I don't know if that counts.
Older than that.
That was my answer, so I guess I didn't
Oh,
know.
I thought it was Gallatin County Sheriff. Didn't we learn that number?
Okay, well, we're going to hear from Sergeant Hayden
Elisa
soon,
for the
so
answer.
that's going to be really
Okay.
exciting. Let's bring up our funding and philanthropy panel on stage. Jenny Christensen with the Big Sky Resort Area District, Anna Shipley with the Moonlight Community Foundation, Hannah Waterbury with the Spanish Peaks Community Foundation, and Sierra Wolf with the Yellowstone Club Community Foundation. Thank you for your work serving this community.
Welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Let's kick it right off with Jenny. I think you're up first. Thank you for putting together this incredible slide deck, by the way.
Thank you for putting me in the spotlight. My name is Jenny Christensen. I'm the Deputy Director with the Big Sky Resort Area District, more commonly known about town as Resort Tax. We are the local government agency that administers the 4% resort tax on luxury goods and services. This tax is all collected locally and reinvested back locally into the community. There's 13 communities across the state of Montana with this cool thing called resort tax, and we're very, very fortunate to have it. The team in our office is made up of 5 staff members, including myself. We have 5 board members who are all locally elected by many of you in this room, and they serve in a volunteer capacity. Each of those board members do serve 4-year terms, and we do have 2 seats that will be up for election in May of 2026. History, 30 years in a minute. This is gonna be fun. So way back in 1992, the voters of Big Sky approved this 3% resort tax. When it first started, it was overseen by our county commissioners. There was a local advisory committee that was helping them with that. And then in 1998, the voters then approved us to become a district. That's what we are today. That's when that board of 5 first started, and it's been that way since. Fast forward quite a few years, 2020, the 1% for infrastructure was put in place. The voters approved that. It raised the tax rate from 3% to 4%, and that funding for that is dedicated to water and sewer projects at the moment, and more to come in the future. More recently, in May of 2025, we had another election. We extended that term of resort tax to 2065, which gave us the capacity to bond. We're the first community in the state of Montana to use this tool, and we're able to support some really cool stuff. It's going towards the Cold Smoke Affordable Housing Project and then the renovation of the community park. Why we do the work we do? Simply put, for the community. It's a big reason why we put on Community Week in partnership with the Chamber. Our board is elected and they're serving on a volunteer basis. They're here for the people. All of our meetings that we host, they're open to the public, the board members, including John. They want to hear from the community. We welcome your feedback. We encourage you to attend, so thank you for being here and doing so tonight. Same goes for our staff team. We're open. Our door's always open. We love to hear from people. We really are here to serve the community. And I think that really that's put best by what I said earlier. Every dollar that is invested through this resort tax stays local, and it's going to serve some amazing, amazing projects within the community. Just over $150 million of that investment has been collected and has stayed here in the community in just over 30 years. Just think about that. It's amazing. It goes to more projects than I could name. I would need 20 minutes probably to be up here to list everything that these dollars have gone to in our community. An important thing that we do with some of that money is we fund our government services. Our sheriff's here this evening, fire, water and sewer, and many, many more. This way of funding, it offsets our property tax bills. We're super fortunate to have that. Another thing that we're very fortunate and is unique to Big Sky, especially across resort tax communities, our public funds get to support our nonprofit projects and programs. And you're gonna hear from a lot of those people tonight and these amazing services that we're able to give with these funds. And right now, we're in the middle of reviewing a lot of these projects from our partners. We've got meetings coming up throughout the month, and we encourage you, again, get engaged. We've got 3 meetings to review them, give feedback, share your thoughts, visit our website for more information. I'm gonna go a little off script. This is more, my word that I chose is gratitude, and it's more a reflection of how I'm feeling in this moment. So I really just wanna take a moment. Thank you, first and foremost, John, Tally. You guys do this for us every year, and you put on a great show. The Chamber, we're in our 4th year of Community Week, and they have been a wonderful partner pulling this amazing week off year over year. The BizRad board, those currently serving on the board, and anyone that has ever served on the board in the past, you've done so many things, and it truly is a thankless job at times. Fellow panelists tonight, thank you for volunteering your time and pulling together all this information and sharing with the community. Most importantly, everyone here tonight, anyone that's attended a Community Week or planning to, and thank you. I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. Gratitude's something we need more of in this world, and I hope that everyone remembers that. And really, the people, you're my reason for being in Big Sky.
Well, Jenny, all of us are very grateful for all the work that you do for us. So thank you so much for everything you do. Incredible.
I love nothing more than being publicly thanked.
That wasn't scripted. Next up, Anna Shipley with the Moonlight Community Foundation. I'm sorry I flubbed earlier. We're so excited to hear from you.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for being here this week and tonight and this week and participating in Community Week in your community. So my name's Anna Shipley. I serve as the Executive Director of Moonlight Community Foundation, which is the nonprofit charitable arm of the Moonlight Basin community. So our mission is to support initiatives for youth education, conservation, and the underserved needs of the community. So you might be wondering, how do we put this mission into action? So we hold 4 or 5 fundraisers each year, and all the funds raised at those events go directly back to Big Sky nonprofits through a fall grant cycle, or through a spring grant cycle and a fall grant cycle. So examples of past supported programs include operational support for the Big Sky Food Bank, tuition assistance for local families to attend Morningstar Learning Center, or stream bank restoration projects with Gallatin River Task Force. The foundation is governed by a board of directors of 10 volunteer Moonlight members, 7 of whom live in the community full-time year-round. So this slide just shows the very beginning of MCF. So in 2011, seeing gaps in community resources, a group of 5 Moonlight Basin members came together and the concept of MCF was born. Then in 2013, as the first pilot project under MCF, Camp Moonlight was launched. And this camp was seen as a way to connect local members and kids and embrace the natural beauty that's right here in our backyard. So in the beginning, the camp only operated 2 weeks in July, and it always sold out quickly after registration opened. The camp is now operated under Moonlight Basin, and programming is offered in June, July, and August. MCF proudly offers camp sponsorships to local families to help offset the cost, with the foundation supporting 41 campers this past summer. So nonprofit status was then officially granted in 2014, and in 2015, the first grant cycle was launched, awarding $31,000. Some examples of programs from the grant cycle are things like Lone Peak High School football jerseys, or books for the elementary school library, which is brand new at that point. So where we are now. MCF has had significant growth over the past 11 years. Thanks to the generosity of the Moonlight Basin membership, the foundation has been able to expand its reach annually. A total of $4.3 million has been awarded to local nonprofits since the first grant cycle in 2015. And I want to emphasize that none of this work would be possible without the generous support of the Moonlight Basin donors, the dedication of MCF's board of directors, and the hardworking, boots-on-the-ground nonprofits that are offering these programs and services. These groups all genuinely care about Big Sky and are deeply committed to making it the best community it can be. So next slide. Where we are now. I love this number. So this is 183 programs, projects, or initiatives that have been supported since MCF's founding. And I'm pretty sure that one of these grant awards has touched everyone in this room in some way. From the Rent Local program with the Big Sky Community Housing Trust, to BSCO's recreational programming, to Grow Wild's landscape support, or Wellness in Action's affordable counseling program, or seasonal support for Wampact, or the Big Sky Bandage program. All of these initiatives have made a tangible impact in our town. Last spring, MCF had its largest grant cycle yet, awarding $465,000 to 21 different organizations. Our fall grant cycle application cycle is currently open with applications due next week on the 15th. Through all this growth, we've been able to build lasting partnerships with local nonprofits and have helped make an impact in the community. So for the future vision of Big Sky, we landed on the word transformative, meaning causing change and impact or improving the way something operates. At MCF, we genuinely believe that when the donors, funders, and nonprofit partners come together with shared commitment, we can and will help shape the future of our community.
Thank you, Anna.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Waterbury, and I'm the executive director. I was like, doesn't sound as loud as that. We can hear you, but people are lying. Hello. I'm Hannah Waterbury, the executive director of the Spanish Peaks Community Foundation. At SPCF, we connect generosity with impact. We prioritize addressing community needs and serving workforce livability through investment in Big Sky nonprofits. Our history, so where we started in 2011, SPCF started not in a boardroom or in an office, but at a dining room table at Spanish Peaks. A few members came together to support former Spanish Peaks employees through the LIFT program, and that generosity kind of carried through into 2014. We officially became the Spanish Peaks Community Foundation and received our 501c3 status.
Ever since 2014, we've been focused on supporting local nonprofit programs that really help individuals live and thrive in Big Sky. We can go back. In 2020, we started our Black Diamond Giving Program, which started with 25 families participating each year at a high donation level, and now we have over 160 families participating annually. In 2021, we hired our first full-time employee, and in combination with the growth of the Black Diamond Giving Program and having a full-time employee, our grant making increased over 165% in the first 3 years. You fast forward to 2025, we've now to date awarded over $4.3 million back into the community, supporting community services, education and youth programming, conservation and recreation, and the arts. Okay, now I'm ready. I love this photo. This is from this summer. So at Spanish Peaks, we're all about building community. We bring people together through events, fundraising, grant making, and partnerships. We believe that giving back should be meaningful and fun. Whether that's through a community celebration or a volunteer project or supporting a program that makes our daily lives better, we're 100% here for it. With the support of our 12 serving volunteer board of directors and Lone Mountain Land Company and the Spanish Peaks Mountain Club team, we've really fostered this tradition of coming together to celebrate our shared sense of tending to community. And so this photo is a great example. We partnered with HRDC and the Big Sky Food Bank this summer. Over 100 Spanish Peaks members of all ages came, and we packed 2,000 lunches for those in need and 1,000 essential care kits. And so we really are here for community. Okay, so 25%, where we are now, SPCF, just like Moonlight, also has 2 grant cycles every year. We really prioritize funding projects and programs that directly serve the Big Sky workforce. The board specifically looks at nonprofits for funding that demonstrate not only a high level of impact, but also financial stewardship. Within that, we recently, in the last 12 months, awarded $1.1 million back into the Big Sky community, which is 25% of our total giving ever, which is pretty exciting. And out of that 1.1 million, about 36% went to education and youth programs, 30% went to community services, about 25% towards conservation and recreation projects, and about 9% towards the arts. For us, awarding over $1 million in 2024 alone was a huge milestone for the foundation, and we are just so grateful for the support of the Spanish Peaks membership. It's not only a testimony to their continued generosity, but also to the really incredible, important work that our nonprofits are doing every day to support the community needs. So together, we say this a lot at SPCF, and by we, I mean I say this a lot, that together we are, and I really feel like it's kind of this like rally and also just collective understanding that our ability to fundraise, our ability to collaborate to build these strong community partnerships and also to leverage our collective funding to make a difference is rooted in our ability to work together. And so we really personally believe that our togetherness is our measure for success in the future. And it really is truly, as so many people have said, like our ability to come together across the community. Everybody in this room is such a testimony to that. We're all here for it and we're all together on that. So that's our word. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Sierra Wolf.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sierra Wolf, and I serve in the role as the Vice President of Philanthropy at the Yellowstone Club Community Foundation. If I haven't met you before, I hope I get to meet you at the reception after this. And if not, then hopefully we ride a ski lift together at some point or pass each other on the trails. I look forward to the opportunity to meet all of you at some point if I have not yet. The Yellowstone Club Community Foundation really serves on behalf of the Yellowstone Club members by collectively fundraising across our membership to support thriving communities throughout the greater Big Sky region. History of the Yellowstone Club Community Foundation. We were started in 2010, 15 years ago. We've had a lot of reflection this year, looking back on the past 15 years. And as we have grown, we started out as a grant-making organization. Over the years, over the 15 years, we've continued to expand our grant making in both Big Sky, but also the greater Big Sky region. So all throughout Gallatin County, even over a little bit over into Ennis. Really, any of the communities in which our workforce live is where we make investments. Over the time, we've expanded beyond grant making to do things like add scholarships for youth. We've also been able to have an opportunity to do things like administer the Big Sky Relief Fund. We launched programs like what we call Big Sky Thrift. If any of you haven't been there, you should check it out. And our Social Impact Hub, a nonprofit co-working space. Most recently, we have launched capacity building programs for our nonprofit partners so that they can come and learn together at the Social Impact Hub on areas that are of interest to them. Why we do the work we do. This is a photo of celebration, and it speaks so highly to me for so many different reasons. This group of individuals that you see in this photo here tonight, many of them are here actually, are community members. They came together and worked really, really hard to make the recent resort tax bond for the cold smoke housing and the community park pass. What I've learned in my time here in Big Sky is nothing big happens without a large group of people behind it that are brave and have the courage to try to do things they've never done before. And in order to do that, that takes coordination and an immense amount of collaboration. And you know what? We have done a lot of great things to be really proud of that we should be celebrating. So often we're always like, what's next? What's coming next? What's coming next? But look at this theater that we're sitting in this evening. Think about the school district that we have, the Big Sky Medical Center, BASE. There's so many things to celebrate, and I can't wait to celebrate so many more big things with all of you to come. Where we are now, we've invested in 15 years just under $45 million throughout this region. So yes, the community of Big Sky is small in some ways, but we're also really big in some ways. That's incredible to think about collectively when you put all of this together. How much community investment happens because of people that live here, people that have a place here, people that love this place, and they want to take care of the people that live here. And so that's just something I wanted to share with you, is that we are the largest foundation, place-based foundation in all of Montana, and the place that we love is the same place that all of you love. It's Big Sky and the greater Big Sky region. So the word that I chose for this evening is thriving. That's where we're going. I think the one thing that probably all of us share in this room tonight, as I said, is we love this place. How can a community like Big Sky not thrive with so many people that love it and are here to take care of it? We have to continue to come together, collaborate, coordinate, be courageous, see big visions, support those people that are working so hard. But I hope that all of us can say that whenever our time comes that we leave Big Sky for whatever reason, we can say that we work together to make it a better place than when we first showed up. And that, to me, is the thriving community that Big Sky is and going to only continue to be.
I'll start with a logistical question from the audience for Jenny. Was the resort tax district created the same way that the wellness district is being created and perhaps a library district could be created?
Well, I must admit, I was 8 and a student at the school when that happened, but it was through a democratic process. I can tell you that much off the top of my head, but follow up with me later and I can give a more direct response at that time. I may ask my dad. He might have been in the board, one of the first board members too. Logistical questions are my favorite.
Another question from the audience. So I think my on-stage math was over $200 million has been invested between resort tax and the community foundations. So someone from the audience has asked, as funders who care deeply about this community, how do you navigate the tension between wanting to help all the incredible organizations do good work while also needing to prioritize where your dollars make the greatest difference? You want to say yes to everyone, but
I'll only speak on the Yellowstone Club Community Foundation. We listen first to what the community identifies as their biggest needs. So the community identifies the needs, what they're looking for, and then that's how we prioritize our funds that we have to be able to support them based off of what the community is bringing and prioritizing.
Agreed. As we've shifted to and grown as a funding partner, we've tried to be more proactive. It used to be more of a reactive approach. We would see what people would apply for in organizations and kind of make decisions that way. Now we're actually really trying to move the needle more by meeting proactively, understanding what the needs in the community are, and then also, again, looking at scope of impact and what are other types of funding sources as well. Can we, are there other ways to financially stack funding these programs that brings in multiple players and creates a lot of sustainability? And so for us too, it is a lot about like how are we proactively as a funding partner meeting with our nonprofits to understand what's working, what's not, and how we can put some more fuel behind their programs.
Agreed. And I think it also comes back to, you have to go back to your mission, right? Because you'll get all these wonderful applications of things that are very worthwhile and you want to support, but does it fall within your funding pillar guidelines? And how many people does it impact? So just getting really in the weeds with your criteria of what makes the largest impact and comes back to the reason that your organization exists.
The only thing that I would add is partnership. We work with the foundations to make sure that we can all give the biggest impact. And partnership with the community, we take feedback very seriously. We want to hear from the community. We partner with the organizations providing these programs as well to just make sure that they're a good fit for funding.
Liz, do we have time for another question?
Great.
You want to ask your big one?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
It's interesting when you move to Big Sky, you see Lone Peak, and it's so singular. You drive up on the spur road and you say, I'm in Big Sky, I see Lone Peak. And then when you start getting involved in the community, you realize that this is one of the most complicated administrative areas on the planet. 2 counties, 13 special districts, 0 municipality. And up here, we see incredible work and coordination being done across many funding entities, and it's not just the community foundations, it's the whole nonprofit community, but I think we do it really well. And I'm just curious for you all, what is the secret to great coordination and collaboration across funders when there is no Big Sky Community Foundation, right? There's no kind of like central summit level peak organizer. And I'm just curious if you can comment on that. How do you collaborate? What's the secret?
I'm happy to take that question because I had a similar question myself when I moved here over a decade ago and was leading a nonprofit organization and writing 3 different grants to 3 different community foundations and a resort tax and doing all of that. But I've learned so much in my decade here, and I think actually the secret sauce that we have in Big Sky, that why our philanthropy is so strong and our resort tax is so strong, is the community building. I think that is truly what makes us unique. Philanthropy, the root of philanthropy is to give for the greater good. Why do people give for the greater good? They're a part of something more than themselves. What is something more than themselves? It's being a part of a community. So, for example, at the Yellowstone Club, we do community building along our members, and they truly are connected to this place like a community and something bigger than themselves and bigger than just their experience they have with their families here. And that's why we have such a high rate of philanthropy along our membership. Between the 3 of us, the rate of our members, of our second homeowners that give, is probably skyrocketing higher than most resort communities. Because each of us have the ability to be unique and build our own communities, and all the nonprofit partners do too. They have their own communities of people that believe and are connected to their mission. So I think that's really the heart of why we've all been able to do what we do. And with that said, we wouldn't be successful without coordination. And we're starting to do more and more of that, all of us across the board, collaborating, efficiencies, internally, externally, knowledge sharing. This right here is, coordination and collaboration in some form. And so that's what makes it successful, is that.
Not everyone
That's
has
a really
to respond.
great answer.
It was awesome.
I'm getting the nod from Liz.
Thank you so much. You know, it's really great to have our funders up on stage because a lot of times you all are not in the limelight, and we are really grateful for the work that you do for this community. So, a round of applause for
Thank you,
our funders
ladies.
and philanthropic organizers. Thank you. Okay, we have a special surprise, a midway moment, we should say. And we're going to invite Shannon Steele from Be Well Big Sky with Ben Keefe. And they are going to lead us in a short moment to reset. We've learned a lot over the last hour. We've been in for an hour. So thank you so much, Shannon and Ben. And Kendall, I think we made, oh, there it is, a special moment. Thank you very much. Take it away.
So we at Be Well Big Sky, we love doing tools that can help either ground you, mellow you out, or kind of elevate you. We've chosen two that will kind of help mellow you out a little bit because there is a lot of information we've taken in and will take in. So we're just going to lead you through those. My favorite one, or one of my favorite ones that I love to do are cross-body pulls. So if everyone wants to just take one or the other of the hand, we're going to do both. And just reach behind your back and around your shoulder blade as you breathe in. And as you exhale, just with some pressure, just pull it across your body and down your sternum and shake it out. You do that again with the opposite side. Breathe in, some pressure, and shake it out. And just notice how you feel. Now we're going to stand with hers.
I'm gonna do the starfish hand, and so you'll take your left hand out in front of your face and spread the fingers wide, and then you'll take your right pointer finger, and as you inhale, you're gonna draw up the finger. As you exhale, you're drawing down, and you'll trace the fingers. So inhale, fill up, pause at the top, exhale, in through the nose, pause, out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out. In. Out. One more big inhale, pausing at the top. Long exhale. Drop the hands. And notice how you feel.
Thank you so much to our friends from Be Well Big Sky. I feel better.
I feel great. I feel ready for trivia.
I feel ready for trivia and moving on to health and safety. And so let's bring up Jess Olson from Alpenscapes, Kelly Halmes from Big Sky Medical Center, and Daniel Hayden, Sergeant Hayden from the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office. While they're coming up, here's a good one. Come on up. Statistically, which day of the week is the safest day to drive on the spur road, Montana 64? Statistically, what do you think? Anybody got any ideas? I'm hearing Tuesday, Friday. Do you know what it is? It's Saturday. What? How could it be Saturday? I'm still grappling with that. Sergeant Hayden, I was on the National Highway System statistical dashboard at 4:45 a.m. this morning.
Nerd alert.
Trying to back up those statistics. So they're true. I'd be happy to show you my spreadsheet anytime.
Can I give you my guess?
Oh, yeah.
The people who are drinking on Saturday night crash on Sunday morning.
You heard it. From someone who represents the longest serving social service organization in Montana. I think we're going to learn more about that soon. All right, moving into health and safety. We're going to start with Jess Olson with Alpenscapes. Hi, Jess. Welcome.
Hello? Yay! Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I'm Jess Olson with the Gallatin River Task Force, and I'm here as the Alpenscapes partner representative. So for those of you who don't know, Alpenscapes is a collaborative partnership, so we are not made up of any staff members. We are a partnership between 4 organizations in Big Sky, the Gallatin River Task Force, myself. We also work with Grow Wild, the Big Sky Sustainability Network Organization, or SNOW as you might know them, and the fire department. I'm sure even if you haven't heard of Alpenscapes, you've heard of at least one of our organizations. And we came together a couple years ago under the mission to create more fire-safe, water-wise, and ecosystem-resilient landscapes in Big Sky. Go to the next slide, perfect. So we're a little bit newer than a lot of the groups that you've seen today, although our individual organizations have been around for a long time. Several years ago, we came together and basically said, why do we have 4 different organizations trying to push landscaping messaging across our community? It is confusing. You have to go to so many different websites. And people were feeling like they had to choose between having a fire-safe landscape, a water-wise landscape, or something that fosters wildlife, when the reality is you don't need to choose. You can and should have all of that. So we kind of started to scrap our own individual programs and come together to create this one hub of information so that people know exactly where to go and exactly how to make our landscapes in Big Sky match our community. So we launched in 2023 formally, and then over the last several years, we've put together a website, a huge deck of guidelines for folks to use. All of our organizations will offer free site visits based in our respective areas. So the Gallatin River Task Force, we can come check out your sprinkler systems, or the fire department can come teach you how to better harden your homes for wildfire safety. Because we really just want you all to feel safe and comfortable in your homes. And then coming up in 2026, we've been working on a guidebook that takes all of these recommendations that we have, plant lists, we have some example landscaping plans, some in steps how to put all of this together. If you go to our website, you'll see our big guidebook. It's a whole lot of words and not a whole lot of instruction. So we really want to make it clear for the community. This is how you do it, this is what you'll do, and a lot of photos for inspiration. So we're really very excited about that. So why we do the work that we do, this photo that you're looking at is from our launch party several years ago. And while we have so many incredible photos of landscapes, because there are already so many people here that are doing awesome things in their landscapes, at the end of the day, we are here for you guys. We want to be a resource. We know that asking folks to transform their landscapes is a big, daunting, expensive task. So we want to make that work as easy, as stress-free, and as cost-effective as we possibly can. So we want to be in the community like this, hosting pop-up events, coming to events to table, to talk to you all and learn what type of information do you need from us and how can we best assist you in making these big landscape changes and transformations, because our community really does need it. Next. So I didn't realize that we could put more than one stat. I noticed other people doing that, so we put none.
You're making up for other had like 4 or 5, so thank you.
Yes, so I'm just going to list them for you. So this group came together not because we want our yards to be looking aesthetically pleasing. While that is part of it and a huge bonus, at the end of the day, our landscapes can make huge differences in our water supply, in our wildfire safety, and to our wildlife. Like many folks have said tonight, we all moved here or stayed here to enjoy this area. We have the Gallatin River. We are surrounded by stunning national forests, national parks, all of the wildlife that we see. And so our landscapes can really help protect and foster a better ecosystem for us all. So we live in Big Sky, as we know, which is a very drought-prone environment. And we know from a lot of studies that we are expecting to see longer and more severe periods of drought, which put us at risk with less precipitation, which is going to impact our water supply, and at greater wildfire risk. And the number one way that we can start protecting ourselves is in our landscapes. So a couple stats that I'll throw at you. Our community is at greater risk than 93% of communities across the US for wildfire, meaning that we are at incredibly high risk if a wildfire were to come through. And hardening your home is the best way that you can keep yourself, your home, and our community safe. Our landscapes right now with the turf grass or non-native plants are using up to 160% more water in the summer during the rest of the year. And so when we're in these periods of drought, our water supply becomes very sensitive and we need to protect it. And the best way to do that is in our landscapes. And Grow Wild, I'm sure many of you have met with them. They have conducted over 1,000 site visits in our community, and only a couple have had 0 invasive species. So planting native and really protecting our landscapes is the best way that we can protect not just ourselves, but also foster the wildlife and the things that we love to see and experience in our community. Next slide. And our word we did make up, and it is alpenscaped. And we want to see more alpenscaped landscapes in our community. Again, not because it's pretty, and that is a huge bonus, but because it is going to make us a safer community in the event of wildfire. It is going to help protect our water supply so that we can continue to grow and love this place. And it is going to help protect our wildlife and all of the things that we live among here in Big Sky and the reason that we moved here.
Thank you, Jess.
Hello, my name is Kelly Helmus. I am the Director of Nursing and Administrator at Big Sky Medical Center. Big Sky opened its doors December 12th in 2015, making this December our 10th anniversary. During that decade of service, we have offered emergency department care for 24/7, 365. In 2023, we received a Montana Trauma Receiving Facility Level 5 designation, which is very exciting. We have primary care, in-person and telehealth, behavioral health services, imaging including CT and MRI and ultrasound, lab, pharmacy, visiting specialists, acute care, and inpatient. In 2019, we increased that acute care from 4 beds to 8 beds from philanthropy from our community. Exciting. That's all I got on our history. Why we do what we do. When I asked myself this question, I thought, Odie Loomis. Yes, she deserves a round of applause. She's pretty awesome. She's a longtime resident of Big Sky, and she has been a nurse at Big Sky Medical Center since we opened and on ski patrol for over 20 years. I have many stories of how amazing our staff is, but this one's about Odie. On July 12th of this year, Odie worked her day shift, went home, was spending evening with her family when she got a call from the ER. There was an MVA, motor vehicle accident, with multiple critical patients all coming to the ER. And we call that an MCI, which is a mass casualty incident. With 2 nurses and a physician, that's a lot of people coming our way. So Odie got in her car, started driving, and immediately got stuck in traffic because of the accident. So Odie turned around, went home, and in true Odie fashion, decided to jump on her dirt bike, there's the picture, made her way through the crash site to the ER, and then began to work on about 16 hours. Taking care of patients. And that's the epitome and embodies what Big Sky Medical is about. We take care of our neighbors, visitors, and the many workers that travel here every day. We are scrappy and resourceful, and we are passionate about providing the best care. And this is why we do what we do. So where we are now, in 2024, we saw just over 6,000 in primary care visits, a little over 4,200 in our ER, 528 MRIs, a little over 4,400 lab tests, and this is my favorite, over 40,000 prescriptions filled. So when you guys wait in line for Wendy, she's doing her job. She's working hard. So when I think of the word growth, I think of our community always growing and us, bless you, and all of us growing with it. And with the fruition of the hospital district, it's brought a lot of conversation of what does our community need, and that's what we're going to keep answering. What do you need? Let's provide it.
Thank you so much. Sergeant Hayden.
I'm Daniel Hayden, one of the sergeants for the Canyon section. Sheriff's Office covers all of Gallatin County. Canyon section is for Big Sky and West Yellowstone. A lot of road miles, a lot of interesting stuff going on. Who's got the slides so I can point at the right person? You do. Oh, okay, good. Yellowstone National Park, founded in 1872. Montana, founded in 1889. We have been a sheriff's office since 1865. We were established as a sheriff's office when this was the Montana Territory. We are led by Sheriff Dan Springer. I like the way that somebody put this to me once. The sheriff runs for election every 4 years. The sheriff has to be responsive to the community. A police chief only has to keep the city manager happy. The sheriff has to make sure that 51% of the voters are happy with the job he's doing. So for this slide, I gotta say, Jenny and Resort Tax took pictures of our office. I asked her to put in a picture, so she chose 3, not me. What she did not tell me whether I could or couldn't do was bring props. So, to quote Bob Slidell from Office Space, what is it you say you do around here. I think everybody knows what the cops do, right? Everybody's watched the show Cops. Sheriffs are different. We have a lot more responsibilities, so I brought some stuff to show you our different things. We are your search and rescue. By statute, the sheriff takes care of that. With our Big Sky section, with the search and rescue program overall, we are ready for side-by-side rescues, bike rescues, hikers, lost people, lost children, whitewater, rock climbing. We bring in helicopters to do short-haul rescues. Another responsibility of the sheriff, the jail. We administer the jail with approximately 150 inmates. We are your coroner's office. We do every unattended death investigation. We have our detectives division, 8 guys who just really crush it and work on only the most sensitive and biggest events. We have our drug task force, and I brought baking soda.
This is a school, Sergeant Hayden. Just
Your civil paper services are done by the sheriff's office. If your civil papers end up in a red folder, you're probably going to jail. We may also be the person telling you that you really didn't pay your credit card bill for a long, long time. Wildfires. If we show up with this envelope, things have gotten bad and it's time to move. Everybody should be well educated on the risk. Everybody should be ready when it comes to summer. Everybody should be signed up for emergency notifications and have a go bag ready. When we show up and we tell you it's time to go, it's because it's really time to go. We have our SWAT team with our negotiators. These guys get sent all over the state of Montana when things have gotten really, really dangerous, and when the road deputies and the road officers can't safely take care of a situation. We've got a team on standby who's got a whole lot of training to be able to do that safely. We have about a quarter of our patrol deputies as EMTs as well. Because we are out on patrol a lot of times, when you are calling for a medical emergency, you'll see a deputy before the fire department gets there. So we've spent a lot of effort on training our guys to be able to buy the time necessary for the fire department to arrive. And then we're your animal control as well.
wow.
So just for the Big Sky area, our office had almost 8,000 calls last year. For the sheriff's office as a whole, we had over 50,000 calls last year. Something I think is really important to remember. We've got our 8 deputies for Big Sky, we've got our 10 deputies for the Canyon section, but because we're part of the bigger sheriff's office, we have such a force multiplier where when something like Moose Creek happens last year, we have unbelievable experts who will dedicate all the time in the world to make sure that that gets taken care of. So we've got our 10 for the Canyon section, we've got 75 for the whole office. We are working hard for you, and we are ready to swell our numbers when there's a big event. So where are we going? We serve you in a lot of ways. We serve at your pleasure through the elected sheriff. We listen to you to find out what we need to do to be serving you better. Our sheriff's office is the office that started the crisis intervention team training programs for the state of Montana because we recognized the need and we heard the need from the public. We have a youth and family outreach program to make sure that the most at-risk children don't fall through the gaps and that there's somebody who says, I'm responsible, I'll make sure that this kid gets taken care of. And we get these things because we hear from you and we need to know where we need to serve going into the future.
Definitely extra points for the props. Just want
Yeah,
to
and a
say.
great question from the audience. Are you related to Mary Poppins?
Yeah, that was the movie. I was like, what was the movie? And there it is. Oh my gosh. Thank you for taking us there.
Good job out there, whoever that was. Oh, okay, Jenny, nice.
Okay, so Tally and I were trying to figure out what is one question that can link the three of you, and that was a challenge. So if you know that question, go ahead and throw it up there. There's your QR code. But we have three small questions for each of you, and I want to start with Kelly. There are other people on the stage tonight who are involved in the new wellness district that is being established on the Madison County side of Big Sky. And then right now there is a petition going around for the Gallatin County side. I think there's some people here tonight that are happy to talk about that if you have questions about the Gallatin County wellness district. But I'm just curious if we can just talk a little more specifics. The hospital could potentially be someone who would benefit from that. Would you be able to share some specific programs that new district might be able to support?
Sure, yeah. Well, we have run at a deficit for 10 years, just to put that right out there. So this year, I'm really hopeful we're going to break even. But that being said, we have lots of opportunities to benefit from the hospital district. We have a lot of service lines that are difficult to support financially. I think Allison can speak to that with, behavioral health and recruiting and retaining counselors and psychiatrists can be difficult. There's always equipment needs that we need. I can list off a couple $1 million worth of imaging that we're going to be needing. And then specialty services are really difficult to support financially here. Not a big money maker, but one that we really, really need. One that we're actually starting. We're going to start construction this year. We're putting in a 4,800 square foot second floor. We already have it there for a specialty clinic, which will be urology, hematology, oncology. There's numerous amounts of them. But that absolutely would be helpful. And any money towards that would be, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. And this is just one organization, right? There are more that we should be talking about the reception afterwards.
That's some really helpful common knowledge. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. We were talking about the canyon. This is top of mind for everyone who lives here or commutes here. And John, nerd alert, looked at all of the data from Highway 64 and 181 back over the last maybe 5 years. And
25 years, yeah.
25 years. We were focusing on the last 5. So Dan, this question is for you. After John looked at those statistics, it seemed as though maybe our feelings aren't necessarily backed by data. The canyon doesn't feel the same way as it did 5 or 10 years ago, but the statistics don't necessarily align with that. You just made, I got some eye movement there. Why don't you talk to us about the statistics and maybe why it is that we feel differently about the canyon?
I did not get briefed on the statistics. So that's why you got the eye movement, because I don't know what numbers you're looking at. What I do know, in the last decade, we've doubled the number of cars that come through the canyon. What I can also tell you is that almost every single cross you see in the canyon for a fatal accident is from more than 10 years ago. So, are there a lot of traffic incidents, and do they cause big backups? Do they cause big problems? Yes. Are we having high acuity accidents regularly in the canyon? When I say high acuity, I think about having to bring a helicopter to the hospital. No. But is it a significant impact every time because we've doubled the number of cars that go through every day? Yes. We had a non-injury crash at Loon Lane a few weeks ago. The way that the crash happened, one of the cars was blocking both lanes of travel. Within 30 minutes, I'd hooked a tow strap up to that thing and ripped it into one lane. So within 30 minutes, we had one lane of traffic open. We had everything cleared from the scene in 2 hours. And we had 11 miles of traffic stuck behind it. That's just a volume issue.
That's a succinct answer.
That answers my question. I think it's the amount of incidents isn't necessarily going up, but the extreme impact of each incident makes sense with the volume that's growing, because I think what we were talking about is like, even if those incidents aren't going up, when I drive the canyon now, I'm white knuckling way more than I did 10 years ago. And so thank you for laying that out.
Can I give my same few tips that I give to every news article whenever I get interviewed for a crash?
Yes, Sergeant Hayden, please.
Slow down. Don't be drunk. Wear your seatbelt. If you do those 3 things, you will come out of that accident just fine. These modern cars will take care of you. Be in your seat because your seatbelt's on, keep your speed down, and don't be intoxicated, and these cars will take care of you and save your life. And the one other little asterisk, does anybody know what comes during the winter? Put on your winter tires before it's here.
John, do you have anything to say about that?
It's tricky to get the appointment. Like to get a Costco appointment, you have to schedule it back in May. It's a real big thing here. All right, we got a question for Jess. Where are we at? You know, if there was one of those, those thermometer things that you do in fundraising drives, where the top is all of Big Sky is alpenscaped, and then here is, we're still in the educational phase. Where are we at, and how do we move the temperature up?
Great question. So I have not seen every landscape in Big Sky, but I would say we're relatively low, but the enthusiasm is very high. So I think that's sort of the crux of what we're trying to do, is to get people from here to here by giving them the resources that they need. So many people that we've met with have said, I'm really interested in doing this for my landscape, but I just don't know how. I don't know where to start. So while, yeah, we could do a lot better with the number of landscapes that we have, we know that the care is there. And so that's what we're really looking to do. And we just recommend look to your neighbors. One thing that I love to walk around your neighborhood and look in your neighbors' lawns. There are already so many people that are doing great landscapes here. Just see where your inspiration comes from. And another big thing we like to say is just take one bite at a time. You don't need to transform every inch of your lawn in one season. If you do just a couple feet, you're making a difference. So don't let it overwhelm you. Just one step at a time, and please feel free to ask for help. Like I said, we want to be in the community and we want to be here to help you and listen. Every one of us, myself, Grow Wild, Snow, the fire department, we're so excited to meet you and come to your landscapes and get you there. So please reach out. We have our own email on Alpenscapes, or it all links back to our email. So please let us know how we can help you.
Thank you. There are some really good questions coming in. We need to keep things on track, so I would say please stick around for the reception and approach each of our panelists with your individual questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we're getting to our fourth and final panel. We're going to talk about economic development. So let's bring up Brad Niva from the Big Sky Chamber and Visit Big Sky, Troy Nedved from Big Sky Resort, and Matt Kidd from Lone Mountain Land Company. Thank you. Quick fun fact question. How many seats were in the first gondola at Big Sky Resort, and how many are in the new one? 4 in the old, and did you say 56 in the new? Is that correct, Troy? 56 in the new gondola? No, how many seats in the gondola? I'm just messing with Mr. Gans here. It was 10, right? Okay, perfect. Well, with that, let's just move right into things here. We're going to start with Brad Niva, CEO of Big Sky Chamber of Commerce and Visit Big Sky.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Brad Niva, CEO of Chamber of Visit Big Sky. Thank you so much for having us tonight. I think this is one of the funnest events. I wish every seat was full. That's always one of those things that so many people miss this. But I have the distinct pleasure of running 2 organizations in Big Sky, and I think one of the things that people always kind of wonder is like, well, there's Visit Big Sky, there's the Chamber, they're the same, right? And they're actually not. And so I just wanted to define those right now. But the Big Sky Chamber, which is the second oldest organization in Big Sky, second to BSOA, it was established in 1987, which is actually the slide there. But the mission of the Chamber is to support and promote the development of a sustainable and vibrant business community in Big Sky. That is really focused on the people and the businesses within our community. Visit Big Sky, which was spun out of the Chamber in 2018. And I should mention, Visit Big Sky came out of the Chamber, but also the Housing Trust came out of the Chamber, as well as the Sustainable Network, SNOW, came out of the Chamber as well. But the Visit Big Sky's mission is to market and promote Big Sky as a world-class year-round travel destination that fosters sustainable tourism, enhances the visitor experience, and supports the community's economic vitality. So if you wanted to really get down to the nitty-gritty, Visit Big Sky is catering to the visitor coming or promoting the visitor coming, whereas the Chamber is taking care of the businesses that are already here and supporting that. So that's kind of the idea of our two organizations. The big important thing, though, is how we're funded, and a lot of people have mentioned tonight resort tax, and that is certainly one of the greatest features we have. When resort tax was funded, tourism development was one of the listed criteria of resort tax. The Chamber of Commerce gets a chunk of money from the Chamber every year for operations and some of the programming we do, as well as Visit Big Sky gets funding from resort tax as well. In the case of the Chamber, we're also a membership organization, so we'd love to serve everybody, we love to serve the community, and we really try to, but we do need membership funding to support us. And then on the Visit Big Sky side, we have funding from, again, like I said, resort tax, but also the state has a statewide lodging tax. That lodging tax is collected and sent to Helena, and then it comes back down to us to support that, that arm of our work as well. So we get double funded in regards to that. Next slide, we could hop into kind of what we do, and after seeing other people's pictures, I was like, wow, they have better pictures, and I took a picture of a bathroom. But I do want to just kind of point out kind of if you follow resort tax and you follow some of the work our office does, for 4 years I've been trying to get public bathrooms because that's what visitors need. And so now, it takes a village, and we've said that before. Resort tax was fantastic and supported these bathrooms. However, we did not have enough money for these bathrooms. So I'd like to say that I'm not going to name these the Matt Kidd Memorial Bathrooms or the Kristen Kern, because Kristen Kern, likewise at the Moose, has had the bathrooms that have been abused the most in our community. But it's taken a village, all of us working together. Matt came in with the remaining funds and has also donated the land, and that's how we got these fantastic bathrooms. So great advantage for our community, but at the same time, it kind of paints the picture of what tourism is about. Because one of the things I think in modern tourism today is it's not about heads and beds, which so often it is. You want people to come, spend money, and that's your economic engine. But you also have to take care of them, but you also need to make sure that they don't abuse your community in the town that you have. And in the case of our visitors, they were hitting our bathroom at the visitor center a lot, and they were hitting the Moose a lot, and it was just becoming a burden on every business. As someone walks in, and were they shopping for something, or where's your bathroom? And that's what was happening a lot, so we've solved that. But I want to just point out the bathrooms are a big thing. Double clap for the bathroom, all right. The other thing, just to realize, and we'll hop into that. Actually, let's go into the next slide. Is bathrooms are part of the magic that we have to work on in tourism. But I think our community is mature, and a lot of these Western destinations are, especially after COVID. You look at Jackson Hole, you look at Sun Valley, Vail, Tahoe area. We really got impacted a lot by COVID. To the negative effect. I think we had too many visitors, too many things happen, and we all kind of were like, whoa, too much. And so I think the industry has changed a lot. And so for many years, the Visit Big Sky was known as a Destination Marketing Organization. A DMO is what we called it. We have really shifted now into what we call a DMMO, and it's Destination Marketing and Management Organization. And that idea is management of, we're not spending money just on marketing, we're spending money on bathrooms, or we're spending money on the new beautiful signs that are going up the highway now that you see. Those are really good investments that our community can use, our visitors use, of course, but at the same time, our residents can appreciate it. So that's the maturity of what we're trying to fix and work on now. The stat today that I just wanted to share was the 6.12 increase in overnight visitors. And so just to date, this last year, we had 410,000 overnight visitors come to Big Sky, which is really impressive. But we had over 1 million day visitors. And that's one of those things that we're always trying to look at is, we're happy they're there. We want them to come and have lunch, but we also want them to stay. Now, some of you may not agree with that, but as a tourism visitor economy, and I will stand up for this, in fact, is the economic impact is when they spend the night. We want them to come to spend the night. They then end up in a restaurant, they're in a hotel, they're buying souvenirs, they're drinking coffee in the morning. That is the visitor impact that we like and we want. But we do want them to leave, as we all know, right? So that is the trick, and that leads us right into the next word, John, is the next slide, is balance. And I think that is the modern term of tourism now, is balance. You want that industry, you want that economy, you want those visitors coming here, but we also don't want to make them the priority that affects our residents and the way our community is and how our community feels, okay? And so now, we don't have a silver bullet, we don't have every answer, but I would like to say our office, the Chamber and Visit Big Sky, is definitely focused on stewardship. We are really trying our best to find that middle ground. We don't have a playbook. That is one of the things that we've all learned from COVID, is I was like, oh, grab the playbook where we have too many visitors and go to page 26. We don't have that, and no destination does. We're all still learning what it's like to find this middle ground, and I like to think that the team that I have around us and the stewardship work that we've been committed to over the last few years has really been focused on finding balance, finding that happy place to manage our tourism economy. So, thank you very much.
All right, from bathrooms to Big Sky now. You could never guess how often we're talking about bathrooms at Big Sky Resort. It's a little bit of an internal joke for us. All right, so history. Many of you out there know our history. Some probably know it better than I do. But in 1973, Chet Huntley, he was pursuing a dream and a vision of Big Sky with an investor group, and he got that started. Likely what he saw when he turned the corner on 191 was similar to what many of us have experienced. 1976, move forward a little bit, and the Kircher family purchased Big Sky at that time. And I think this is one of my favorite stories. It comes from Stephen. For some of you that know Stephen Kircher, he can be a very serious guy, but he can also be a young 10-year-old in telling these types of stories. He tells the story of the family coming out from Michigan in a old station wagon, kids flying all over because there's no seat belts at that time, right? And they turn the corner right there, and they see Lone Peak, and all the kids dive over the seat and climb into smashing their face against the front windshield. And he tells this story like a 10-year-old, and it's really a funny thing. So anyway, the family, there's relevance to how things have transpired since then to that story and Stephen. But 76, they bought Big Sky, and I'll skip a lot of the details. You'll hear, many of you know of this. 95, built the tram. Stephen's brother, John, built the tram. It was a pretty momentous moment for us. It's what brought me here, to be honest. It was the one thing that motivated me to come to Big Sky, and never left like many of you. 2016, we announced 2025 vision that, I'm going to be honest, at that moment, some of you probably felt the same way I did, sounded extremely ambitious and maybe unrealistic. And I can't believe we're sitting here in 2025 now and looking back, and not only did we do a lot of that, or if not all of it, we did much more. It's pretty exciting to look back on. So 50th anniversary 2 years ago, that was the replacement of the tram as we evolved and needed to replace that legacy machine. And yeah, here we are in 2025. So high-level summary of our history, if you want to keep moving. Why do we do what we do? And this image really relates back to the story I just told about Stephen. The number of times that he calls, sometimes late at night, and has some almost ridiculous, harebrained idea of what we can do next is many. It happens all the time. And this image is relevant, one, because it's happening now, and we're almost completed. I was just up there the other day. I'm excited. I'm going up, for those of you that know Taylor Middleton, but I'm taking Taylor up Thursday afternoon, and he's going to go up there for the first time on this project. So we started with the tram. Yeah. Another thing we like to do, that some of you that know the Kirchers, they get excited and we go on to the next thing and don't finish what we started. That's happened. Meg, you know some of this. at their history, we really wanted to finish what we started with the tram. And we put the cover on the bottom station last year. We built a cover that was well beyond what we needed to from functionality. And then this top structure, which is pretty meaningful for what we have ahead, not just for skiers. So the enclosure completely changes how we operate on the summit. But the accessibility to now foot traffic and others, not just for foot traffic from base to summit, but also goes well beyond the typical winter months for 12 months a year. So that's a little bit of the future, and that's why we do what we do. Do it a little differently than some of the other cookie cutter ski resorts out there, right? We have a special place. This percent, I thought this was more appropriate for this audience. When we talk a lot about affordable housing, livability. Back in 1973, we had housing back then. I keep reminded that we've always been in the housing business for our team members, but it's progressed through history. And I think more recently, we've been investing a fair amount in it. Matt and his team have done a ton in our community in this realm, but 55%. A while ago, I saw a number for destination ski areas in the US, and the average employee housing that they provided for their team members, as we all know, it's challenging in mountain towns, was under 25%. And I knew we were a little above that at that time, and I'm like, well, let's strive for 50, right? That's a good goal. We have we're gonna have about 2,100 employees this winter. So 55% is where we are now. What we've learned is it's not just about numbers, it's more so also about the type of housing, right? Livability. We want to have an offering for a broader demographic of our team members. So that's something we've learned from some of the projects that Matt's done, and we're delving into that for more diverse employee base, families, and such. So that's what the 55 is about. Yeah, thank you. Limitless. It seems to be appropriate for a lot of the stuff we've heard tonight. Collectively, a lot of great words of where we're going, not just with what we're doing at the resort, but what we can do collectively. And I know I maybe mentioned this a couple of years ago, a conversation that Matt and I had a few years back. There are a lot of mountain towns out here that have got fabulous places, have done some great things, but they've also made some mistakes along the way. And I think we have a lot of opportunity in our community. And both at the resort, collectively throughout our community, I thought limitless was an appropriate term.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Brad. I'd like to start by sort of saying to everyone else that's been on this stage tonight, great job. I'm not talking about tonight. Tonight's tonight. But great job overall. And most of you in the audience, realistically, could also be on the stage with us. You're also leading organizations and leading nonprofits, and you're leaders of the community. Thank you for being here. But also, great job. You guys are doing it. We're actually building this community. Everybody's working really hard. People don't hear it enough. So that's why I wanted to say to you all, great job. Keep up the good work. This is a panel on economic development. I'm not sure I have anything to say on economic development, but you can ask all the questions you want, and John and Tally will decide what to ask, and then we can talk afterwards as well about various specifics. But I'm Matt Kidd. I am the president of Lowmount Land Company, and I'm very honored to be here. Appreciate it. I'm not going to go into all of this, the history of Lowmount Land Company. I would say I have worked here in Big Sky for almost 18 years, and we've been very busy. I think a lot of you have been a part of it. You've been a part of the journey with us. So thank you for being a part of the journey with us, and it's going to be exciting to see where we go from here. And if people have questions on the past, again, we can talk about that later on. Yeah, we kind of overdid it here with the 4 pictures instead of just one, but why we do the work we do? Yes, we are developers, but I like to think of ourselves as community builders. And in the top left-hand corner, we're just in the process of opening a new childcare center, not to create competition with other amazing people and other amazing organizations that are serving the community in those ways, but to create capacity so that no one ever has to say again, there's nowhere for my child to go. And in the top right-hand corner of the picture is a group of high school students that are understanding, maybe this is a little bit of economic development, but that are understanding a little bit of the economic development of Big Sky and our tourism-based economy and where growth comes from, and being able to see some new projects going on in Big Sky. One of the best things that we've done the last few years is working with the Chamber to create the Big Sky Futures program and coming into the high school and sort of showing high school students the opportunities that exist around Southwest Montana, not just in Big Sky, but around Southwest Montana, to maybe come back after school and continue to work here and have economic opportunities here as well. And some other pictures of our team. It was a great chamber dinner we had this spring. I think that was my favorite Big Sky community event that we've ever had. So thank you for that, Brad. And of course, like the farmers market, when it really all comes together. So why we do the work we do is really for the community building and making this place the best that it can be. Going on to the next slide. This is a little corny. It's a little corny, admittedly, I own that, so just bear with me. But where are we now? We were told to pick a number, 1. And there's 2 components to this. One is that we are opening the one and only in November. Pieces of it are already open, but the one and only opens November 18th. I hope that everyone can celebrate that in our own ways and view this as a great thing for the future of Big Sky. And also, we are one community, like everybody. From our seasonal residents to our second homeowners and seasonal workforce to our second homeowners and everyone, we are one community. And that takes me to the next slide, John, the word, integration. I'm going to try to talk about this for a little bit. This is kind of the main event for me tonight. And I think everybody can just think about it for a little bit. Like, it ties into everything that we've heard tonight. Like some of the things that Mariel said, and just all these, the social services, where the funding comes from, like just tying it all together, the integration. But I want to see if I can articulate my 3 key thoughts around this word for you all to consider. The first ties into, that we came up with this a few years ago, John, at this event, that the leadership of Big Sky, all of us, we have these 2 huge interdependent goals. For Big Sky to be a world-class resort destination, and Troy's doing it. I mean, it's unbelievable, like what the resort is. But also to be a thriving year-round community. And we don't have to choose one or the other. Like we're all working to be both of those things. And there are 4 segments of our population working to be integrated towards those 2 goals. Our seasonal workforce, all of us year-round locals, our second home or part-time owners, part-time community members, and tourists. And we need all of them. All 4 segments of this population have to be completely integrated for us as we move forward. That's the first piece. The second piece, and this is actually the most important thing. This is the most important thing. Talking about energy. I think that Big Sky, certainly since COVID, but I would argue the whole 18 years I've been working out here, and I know this because I feel it in myself as well. But we've been in this survival energy, like this survivalist energy, fight or flight. Like, oh my gosh, we have to do this or it'll all fall apart. We have to have more housing, we have to have more childcare, we have to do all this stuff or it's all going to fall apart. I mean, I feel like we've been in this fight or flight energy for a long time, but we're getting out of it. I love Brad's word, too, balanced. That's what we're seeking. I'm not saying we've solved all the problems. We have not. There's still a lot more work to do. But we can do it from being centered and being balanced. And that is really what integration looks like. Moving beyond the survivalist fight or flight energy to being centered as we approach what's in front of us. It's also a recognition of the good that has been accomplished. And so that, the third piece of this. Interesting, these questions tonight have been the history of all of our organizations. That's talking about the past. It has been, a comment or a number on the present, and then a word, where are we going for the future? So we've been talking tonight about past, present, and future. That also ties into balance and integration. How are we balanced and integrated, past, present, and future? How do we live with a reverence for the past? The Kircher family, the Huntley family, and everybody that's come before us, Taylor Middleton, all these amazing people that have come before us. How do we live with a reverence for the past, a peace in the present? Be out of that fight or flight energy, be centered, a peace in the present, and hope for the future. And to me, that's what integration is, and that's where we are.
Maybe we should relabel this slide. I mean, we can go anywhere we want, but there are a lot of questions, and there's some really articulate questions that are going to take me 2 minutes to read, Liz. We have 3 minutes left.
It's the end, so people can leave if they want.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like we need a little more than 3 minutes. We should have a little conversation.
I want to give a softball to Troy. Could you help our common knowledge and pronounce that big, beautiful glass box on the top of Lone Mountain?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, structure on the summit, I didn't say that. Yeah, so we have new Explorer gondola, obviously connects Lone Peak Tram, and on the top structure and enclosure is called Kirkcliff. Ultimately, the second floor of that, which is the full glass box, glass floor experience that overhangs the front cirque. So Kirkcliff, yes.
Thank you.
Mine's not going to be as softball. I think it's more what I've observed over the last year. We've taken a lot of trips to Helena. Montana is really in a tourism moment, let's say. There is a waning of the natural resource industry. The state is trying to figure out how it is going to solve for the massive influx of tourism that's happened since COVID. And I think that the issue is not special to Big Sky, that we're seeing rising home prices. People are struggling to keep up on their property tax bills, and we've certainly felt that this summer with a major legislative shift that's happened, where the tourism sector is being expected to pick up a lot of the bill. I haven't seen any clear answers out there. I don't think there are any silver bullets out there. I think everybody is struggling across the state. What can you gentlemen share with us that can help this community understand where are we going? How are we actually going to stay balanced and stay integrated for limitless possibilities? Because we're just... Did you like how I tied that together? Yeah.
Well played, well played.
Yeah. I listen. I think I'd love to just hear a little more specificity. A lot of the questions here are, revolving around housing, although I think our community has proven that we've made a major step forward in housing. There are questions about water. There's questions about culture, but, what keeps you up at night with that balance?
I'll start, and then you guys can add on. But first of all, I would say that one of the things that I've learned on my work on the state Montana Chamber of Commerce board is that somehow, on average, across the state of Montana, mining is viewed more favorably than tourism. So I would say we have our work cut out for us. We have our work cut out for us to make sure that people see tourism in a positive light. We do. I think when I'm speaking I have the great fortune and responsibility that I take very seriously to speak other places on behalf of Big Sky all the time. Bozeman, Helena, through the various events. And I think I do speak for all of us when I say that we want Big Sky to be seen as a force of good for the state of Montana. We want Montanans to view us favorably and to see Big Sky as the force of economic good that we are. We are now 14%. Our little community of less than 4,000 full-time annual residents, that's 0.35% of the state's population, is 14% of the state's property tax base. Our property tax base in Big Sky is bigger, stay seated, bigger than Billings, Missoula, and Bozeman combined. That's insane. So I think there's a lot of us that have been working really hard in Big Sky for a long time to take care of ourselves here. And we haven't really asked the state for that much. But it's time to. We've got to figure this out. Whether it's the 2027 legislative session or the 2029 legislative session, we got to think big and we got to ask big. Low-hanging fruit to me feels like school funding. Other people say it's Herculean. You'll never get it done. It feels like low-hanging fruit to me because the numbers are so crazy. We just want to be able to take care of our students here. We give the state as a community, it'll be almost at least $56 million by our estimates to fund state education. And it's very hard for us to get $3 million plus or minus back. We're all for, all of us in Big Sky, we're all for being a force of good for the state and funding education elsewhere. But we've got to be able to take care of ourselves. We've got to be able to take care of our kids. The reframe, by the way, this ties in, I didn't make this point when I was talking about sort of survival to being centered. An example of this is around the school. And I could be oh my gosh, are we gonna have enough kids to have a football team? Are we gonna have enough kids to have a soccer team? Or how about the reframe being, isn't it amazing that every kid in Big Sky that wants to play sports has the chance to play sports? Isn't that amazing? And if we say it that way, we'll be more attractive to people that can live anywhere to want to live here. Because that's a part of the story too. That is a part of who Big Sky is and a part of how we find strength, part of how we've got to be attractive to people that could live anywhere to want to live here. The reframe is, isn't it amazing? Any kid that wants to do whatever they want to do, sports, drama, theater, whatever they want to do in Big Sky, they can do it. That's amazing. But thank you. But I think that we're doing an amazing job in Big Sky of taking care of ourselves, but we have some work to do around state-level politics, state-level dynamics, and we can't hide from it anymore. The numbers are too big.
Thank you.
I would jump in. I absolutely totally agree with Matt. I think one of the challenges we have as a community is we have not been telling our story. We've let other people tell our story. And one of the campaigns we've been working on the last 2 years is get the legislators to come to Big Sky. I think we hear, and we've seen in Helena in certain committee meetings, when people comment about Big Sky, quote, you guys have more money than the U.S. government. Why are you coming here to get our money? And we're like, whoa, time out. Again, reframe is we're all in this together. We are Montana. We are part of Montana. And I think Danny, Jackie, myself, Megan on our team, and Dave O'Connor and John, we've all been working on this effort it's on us. We're to blame in the fact that we need to educate our legislators. And so just 2 weeks ago, we hosted another 11 legislators that came to town. We call it Demystifying Big Sky. It was sitting down around the fireplace down at Rainbow Ranch and talking about what is happening in our community. And in May, we're going to bring another 12, and in October, we're going to bring another 12, and we're just going to keep pounding it in that this is who we are and what we are, and you're welcome. You are welcome. We're not asking for a lot of money back, but at the same time, you need to understand what this community is doing. And I think, again, they don't know, and that is our job to educate them. So that's just one of the numerous things that we've been working on behind the scenes to try to change that thing. Somewhere along the line in 2008, when you look at the list of the great products this state has in natural resources, be it timber, mining, gas, things like that, somewhere in 2008, tourism got taken off the list. It was actually ranked number 3. And then it's now gone. When you run the GDP of the state, there's nothing about tourism. And we're going to try to figure out why. Because I think, honestly, when you look at how our governor is recruiting businesses. Every town wants, Lewistown wants a new employer, a new manufacturer that brings 300 jobs. Those are really, really hard. That's like winning the flipping lottery. Every town in this state could actually turn on the tourism machine and actually make something happen. And I've seen it in other states, and I think Montana could do it well. I think we are lacking some leadership at the state level in regards to tourism as well as our economic development. But I'll leave it at that. That's not our topic tonight.
I would just make one other comment that every time we play some offense, we have to play some defense as well. And there's a lot of talk at the state level now about, or I shouldn't say a lot, but there's starting to be talk in Montana chambers pro sales tax, and that could be good. That could be good. That could be good to have a sales tax in the state of Montana. But you know what? In Big Sky, we already have one. The resort tax, 4%. We got to be careful about how state sales tax impacts that. We got to play defense. The resort tax is unbelievable. The resort tax and the funding partners and that philanthropy are unbelievable tools that we have to solve any problem that does or will exist in Big Sky. And we have to protect those tools.
You guys covered the meat of it. I'd maybe summarize in that the demand that we experienced over COVID, it created a lot of fear. And I think one of the things we all understand is change is inevitable. It's how we evolve and adapt. And I think what you both said is we have a job of telling our story and making sure that we're managing that perception of what Big Sky is and what we have to offer. I think, seeking out, trying to create a world-class destination, and I don't mean Big Sky Resort, I mean our community, world-class destination, is a pretty cool thing. And we got to tell that in the right way. Some people perceive that as we are trying to get as many people here as possible. That is in no way the goal of anyone whatsoever, but it's trying to make this special place what it can be in a unique way. And I think we need to get better at telling that story of what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. Liz, thanks. I know we went way over. This is amazing. Thanks to everybody. We could be here all night. There's never enough time. There's still food out here, so the conversation continues from here, and it continues throughout the week. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., the Joint County Commission meeting. We'll have some interesting topics on the agenda. Learn more about the Gallatin County Wellness District. There is an active petition out there, so learn what you can.
Sign it before you leave.
Sign it before you leave, says Tally. Really great questions here, by the way, so thank you, and we're going to make sure that all the panelists that were here tonight are going to get to see a list of that question. I'm sorry that we weren't able to get to everything, but a round of applause for another great State of the Community. Thank you to all of our panelists, and we wish you all a wonderful evening. The conversation continues from here. Thank you so much.